What's the problem with how we apply for jobs? For most people, they, when they want to find a job, they're going on a job board, enter in the search box, whatever the job role is, or maybe something a bit more general, but they search for the role, advertisements show up, they scroll through, some seem suitable, some don't. The ones that do, you will usually click on it. When you get there, you might have to answer 2 or 3 questions. You'll usually upload a CV. Perhaps you'll upload a cover letter, and that's kind of the end of the matter then, depending on whether or not you hear back from them. And I just think that clearly it works. I mean, you can get a job that way. Maybe it's not even that difficult to get a job that way. It's possibly one of the easier ways in some respects, but it is definitely a guarantee that you're not going to get as good a job as what's potentially available to you. You're probably not going to get a job that you have any real chance or ability to understand before you actually get it, in the sense of, you read a job description and there's some nonsense about the company culture, which is never really, it's not that it's never true, but it's just so vague and generic. It could apply to anything and still be 100 different things. I say how I recommend people get a job in other videos and articles, and I suppose I tailor it more for the getting a job into technology from not working into technology. But to be honest, I think this applies to absolutely everyone at every level. If you look at how seniors, and by that I mean directors, C-level people, tend to get jobs, at least in companies with under 1,000 people. I don't know about bigger companies, and that you need a different person to tell you the answer to that one. But they're not applying for jobs in that way. It's through some sort of networking. It might be simple as they worked with the hiring manager previously, and so there's a relationship and an understanding of the person's ability, in place, and the right opportunity presents itself. They reach out. It might be they are recommended to the hiring manager by another senior hirer somewhere else. It might be that they met at an event, but it might be through some kind of self-publishment that person has been doing, writing articles and publishing them online and getting noticed. Not that the article will win it for you, but building up a presence, so you're on people's radar, or going to events and doing, speaking at events. That's always a good one. It's amazing how many stupid speakers there are at events that have incredibly good jobs. Never assume someone speaking at events is actually that good at this subject, but they are very good at getting hired, I guarantee it. So how do you take that nugget of information as a less senior person, or trying to get into a new industry, or just trying to get a new job in your own industry? Well, I would say get on LinkedIn and find as many people as you can with the job role that you're looking for. Then start filtering them out by people who either match or are as close as possible to your background. So if you don't have a degree, start filtering out the ones who don't have degrees. If you try and keep it in the same country as well. If you live in the UK, do the UK. If you live somewhere else, do somewhere else, because there will be differences to the working environment. And keep going and adding those people on LinkedIn as friends, connections, whatever. Keep going until you've got at least 10. And 10 accepted friend requests, whatever we want to call it. But take note of anyone who matched your background. Take note of their hiring managers, and you can do this very simply. You go onto their LinkedIn, look at their connections, filter by the company they work for, and just look for someone who's got either lead, head of, director of, a department that sounds like your connection person would work in, and then add those people. And the reason that's valuable is because if you add their bosses, bearing in mind we've now filtered by people who match your background, you're more than likely adding someone who has hired a person for the particular job you want with a background similar to yours, aka maybe the person you found had no degree and you don't have a degree, and now you found their boss. Their boss has also hired someone without a degree for that role, so they're reasonably well disposed, in principle, or in theory at least, to people coming at it the way you will be. And just shoot them a message and just say, hey, I'm starting off in this journey of trying to become whatever the job role is. I realize I'm really early on, and I'm just trying to make as many connections as I can, and if it's not any trouble, I'd really value some insight you could provide. If they don't respond, who cares? If they do respond, and they actually give you some good information, the best thing you could do is not follow up with, okay, can I have a job now, please? But if they give you some information, come back to them demonstrating that you actually took that information to heart and did something with it. Like, imagine they showed you a course. Well, go do that bloody course, as long as it's not like really expensive or something. Or if there's a way that you can show that you went and acted upon some of the information they gave you, you're coming back to them showing respect, showing them what you might be like as an employee also. Managers don't tend to tell people what to do very often. They suggest things, and the employees who go further are the ones who are perceptive enough to realise that suggestion is my boss wants me to do this, and if I don't do it, he's not going to be best happy. But keep going like that, and all the while be studying your craft, reading online every evening. I mean, some online courses are good, some are not. You're going to have to use your best judgment on that, but doing some kind of repetition and research into the job you want to do, all the while keep progressing with this method on LinkedIn, will get you hired. It's a guarantee. And the big difference between doing that and going on job boards is you'll be getting real-time feedback because you're actually interacting with these people. You might actually get some honest feedback on what you're doing. You're never going to get honest feedback on a CV ever, because they're not allowed to. They're too worried about getting sued. And you also might actually really get a feel for what a given job would be like at a particular company, because you're going to be talking to the boss, you're going to be talking to the person doing the job, and you're just going to get a lot more respect, because these people are dealing with you on an individual level, which I'm sure, no matter how junior or inexperienced you are as a person, you have to be a right numpty not to be able to have some kind of appeal to people. So that's my opinion. Go to techerds.com for all the answers.